Shua Tov. So we are on the fourth Mishna of the first Perek of Pirke Avos. So 2 weeks ago we had Shimon HaTzadik, who was the leader of the Jewish people, Kohen Gadol, at the time of Alexander the Great. So he had three primary students, Antigonos, who we heard last week, and then Yose ben Yochanan and Yose ben Yoezer, the two Yoses. So Shimon HaTzadik was succeeded by his student Antigonos, and upon the death of Antigonos, control switches, leadership of the Jewish people switches to azugot, to pairs, to Yose ben Yoezer and Yose ben Yochanan lead together. Up until the generation of Yose ben Yoezer and Yose ben Yochanan, the Jewish people are led by the Kohen Gadol. In this generation, we're now entering the generation of Greek rule, of civil war, a war between Antigonos, between the Seleucid Empire in Syria and the Ptolemaic Empire in Egypt, and there's turmoil and tumult in Israel. The Kohen Gadol ceases to be an office of respect, and it becomes an office that's sold, and so leadership slips away from the Kohen Gadol, and the leadership moves to what's called the Zugot, to the pairs, to the heads of the Sanhedrin. So we'll see in the next few Mishnayot, it's always going to be a pair. The first is the Nasi, the leader, and the next is the Av Beis Din, who is the second in control. So we're going to hit the first of the pairs. Now I said Shimon HaTzadik has three students. So we said before, if anytime you see three in Avos, you should always ask, is this going to be a question of Torah, Vodik, and Sadim? And in fact it is. Antigonos Isocho, our last Mishnah, says Al Tiu Kavadim Hashem Shevet Rabba Almanas the Couple Pras. That Antigonos Isocho taught us about how to serve Hashem. So these next two are going to pick up how to learn Torah and how to do Gemilas Chasadim. So we're going to start with Yose ben Yoezer. Yose ben Yoezer ish Tzoreda, Yose ben Yochanan ish Yerushalayim kiblu mehem. Yose ben Yoezer lived in Tzoreda, a small village in the Galilee, and Yose ben Yochanan ish Yerushalayim, he lived in Jerusalem, and they kiblu mehem. They took the Torah from Antigonos and Shimon HaTzadik. Their early learning was from Shimon HaTzadik, and their later learning is from his student Antigonos. So that's where they received from. Yose ben Yoezer ish Tzoreda says, Yehi besecha beis vad lechachamim. Let your home be a beis vad, a meeting place, right? A meeting place of the councils of chachamim. That your home should be where elders meet, where chachamim meet. V'chavim es abek ba'afar raglechem, and you should roll in the dust at their feet, mix it up in the dust at their feet. V'chavim shota b'tzama et divrechem, and you should drink with thirst. Right, with famished thirst, divrechem, their words. That's going to be Torah. You'll see next week we'll touch on Yose ben Yochanan ish Yerushalayim Omer Yehi besecha patuach l'ravcha. Let your home be open to the multitudes. So next week Yose ben Yochanan will teach us how to do Gemilas Chasadim. It's interesting. You see, each of them addresses the problem of where they are. Yose ben Yoezer lives in a small town. Yose ben Yochanan lives in Yerushalayim, in the capital. The easiest thing to lose in a small town is Torah, is learning. You don't have yeshivas, you don't have schools, you don't have gedolim, you don't have the infrastructure in a place that isn't a makom Torah. How do you learn? And Yose ben Yochanan, who lives in the big city, the easiest thing to do is lose track of people and forget Gemilas Chasadim. So they're each going to address that aspect, which is a problem of where they are. This is also an extraordinarily interesting period. This is the Zugot, the beginning of two leaders together. This is the first generation of the Jewish people where there's machloket, where there's something that the leadership disagrees on. We're not going to go into it. It has to do with smicha, with whether you lean on an animal or not lean on an animal on Yantif. Different question. You can learn about it elsewhere. But this is the beginning, the first open question between the halachic leadership of the Jewish people, one against the other, is in this generation, the beginning of the Zugot. This is also the beginning of the Antiochos, of the Hanukkah persecution. The Jews are forbidden to learn, that there's literally a death penalty on learning. And it's interesting, the same way that right now we're seeing that we can't be out in public, we can't go to shul. This is a generation where the institutional practice of Judaism is for the most part shut down, and Judaism moves secretly and out into homes and out into private places. So Yose ben Yoezer ish Tzoreda, living in a small town, he says, how do you build Torah? How do you learn Torah? So he doesn't say study. He doesn't say cover lots of pages. He doesn't say find the best teacher you can get. He doesn't say get the best harusa you get. He says, how is it that you make Torah real? He says, Yehi besecha beis vad lechachamim. Let your home be a meeting place of scholars. Let your home be open to the concept of learning. Let your home be pervaded by learning. We'll see in both of these things that just literally living with and hanging out with and being close to people whose values are Torah-based values, who are focused on learning and growth, is going to drive growth. If you learn lots and lots of pages, but your home has no Torah in it, but you're going to drive to the yeshiva, drive to the school, open up a book and learn, and figure that learning is remote from your core inner life, that you're not going to have any success. That success comes not from the number of pages you see, but again, from your attitude. If you bring your Torah home and make it personal and make it pervasive, you have to have commitment. That's the first step. I'm going to commit my home and my home life and my personality, everything I do, I'm going to be a learning Torah person. Then he says, roll around in the dirt at their feet. Says, once you welcome them into your home, if you're showing hospitality to Chachamim, if you're paying for schools, you're paying for yeshivas, you might think that you're better than them. You're really what matters. You have to have a level of humility. You have to have respect for your teachers. You never can think, hey, I've already heard that. I already know that. Right? If someone has something to teach you, listen. You'll hear it differently. We've been doing Avos now this is our 31st year. So we've been through multiple times. And every single time I roll through this Mishna, there's something new to learn. Every time I see it differently. It used to be that it spoke purely to a young married person. Then it spoke to a middle-aged guy, and now it speaks to a father of older people and a business guy. It speaks differently to you. There's always what to learn, that you have to mix it up. It doesn't just say sit at their feet. Sit at your feet is humility, but dig in, mix it up, get involved. That we don't believe in passive learning. We don't believe in just sit and watch a video. We don't believe in just read a book. You have to ask questions and challenge and push and pull and fight. And that Torah, the understanding of moral and philosophical principles, comes from being deeply emotionally invested in it. Which brings us to the last piece, which is you have to have thirst. You have to drink it up like you want it. Right? No one can teach you. You have to learn. No one can force you to have values. You have to say, I want that. I need that. I'm desperate for that. Right now, we're a time when we're stuck at home and we can't go out. You have to be hungry and thirsty for it. I wish I could have learning. I wish I could have classes. I wish I could have Torah. And it's that drive to get it. So Yose ben Yoezer says, it's not how many scholars there are. It's not how many books you see. It's not the depth of your learning. He says the thing that makes Torah real is to want it. You have to want it at home and make it pervade your life. You have to recognize, be committed. You have to be recognized, be humble, that they have what to teach you, that you have what you need to learn, and then you have to want it. And if you have those things, that will create an environment of learning. In 1983, here in Los Angeles, one family started teaching, one Yeshua family started teaching in their home. And year by year, decade by decade, you look at this city has gone from a place with nothing. When I first moved into the Beverlywood neighborhood and I would walk out on Shabbos, I never saw another frum person. I was the only person I ever saw walking out on Shabbos in the mid-'80s. And now you can't look anywhere without seeing it. One family saying, come into my home and learn Torah, created a renaissance in the city and brought Torah to a whole community. You can do that if you have commitment, humility, and passion. Shavua Tov.